Jesus Christ became poor although he was rich, so that by his poverty you might become rich.
Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, I tell you, make friends for yourself with dishonest wealth, so that, when it fails, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. The person who is trustworthy in very small matters is also trustworthy in great ones. And the person who is dishonest in very small matters is also dishonest in great ones. If therefore you are not trustworthy with dishonest wealth, who will trust you with true wealth? If you are not trustworthy with what belongs to another, who will give you what is yours? No servant can serve two masters. He will either hate one and love the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and mammon. The Pharisees who loved money heard all these things and sneered at him. And he said to them, You justify yourselves in the sight of others, but God knows your heart. For what is of human esteem is an abomination in the sight of God. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
St. Paul knows the secret of living in humble circumstances and also living with abundance. And maybe thinking a little bit about that, I wonder if any of you have ever had circumstances kind of like in this sort of a scenario. I couldn't think of a particular example from my own life, but circumstances where like you have your best laid plans for like something that's going to be a great endeavor, you know. You spend time, I don't know, planning going to an amusement park or something like that. And you got all of your passes figured out, you got the drive down there figured out, you figured out what you're going to have the kids do in the van as you're driving down there too. Everything is planned out, right? And then, you know, circumstances come and it rains that day, the one day that you had planned that was open, so you can't go out and go enjoy yourself at the amusement park. Contrast that kind of an experience to sometimes things that occur in other ways. Maybe in a moment where there's literally nothing planned. You just find that you and your family sit around the fire and you enjoy each other's company with a cup of hot cocoa. Right? There's something really beautiful about that. Really simple, the simple pleasures of life, which is simply the pleasure of relationship more than anything else. I think there, in all of that, is a little bit of a key to what we hear both Jesus talk about and St. Paul talk about. You cannot serve both God and mammon. We want to entrust ourselves wholly to God, and in Him, in this sort of simple pleasure of our relationship with Him, we find all that is required for our satisfaction and our happiness. Whereas if we try to put our hope and trust in things of this world, which are all passing and sometimes which won't come to fruition anyway, we won't find that fullness of life that Jesus promises for us. So this is the secret to live in humble circumstances and living with abundance. As St. Paul says, I have the strength for everything through Him who empowers me. That the secret is our relationship with Jesus, a simple pleasure, one that we can have with us all the time in every sort of circumstance. And that's what brings us the fullness of life.